There are consequences for being involved with LIV golf, especially if you play in one of the events that has caused trouble. Andy Ogletree knows all about the bad things. The former U.S. amateur champion lost sponsorship and was kicked off the PGA Tour for playing in the first event outside of London in June. He also can't play in Korn Ferry Tour events until the end of this year. Starting us off, playing LIV golf closed one door for Andy Ogletree but opened another. To make matters even worse, Ogletree, who was only 24 years old at the time, came in last place at that first LIV golf event. He was 48th out of 48 players, 24 shots over par and 31 strokes behind the winner, Charles Schwartzel. Worse, he was never again asked to play in an LIV golf tournament. "I got kicked out because I played badly." Ogletree said that he used that one-shot appearance to get exemptions into International Series events, one of which he won on Sunday in Egypt. It was his first win as a professional. "I wanted to play them all during a phone interview from Cairo, where he won by 4 shots over another LIV golf player, Bernd Weisberger. With a score of 62 in the last round, he said this: "I thought I was going to play more than once, but after so many people showed up, it seemed like everyone wanted to play LIV golf. I just didn't make the most of that chance." But an opportunity came up and Ogletree took it. He had a 3-shot lead after 3 rounds and he didn't let up on Sunday. As a result, he won $270,000 from the $1.5 million prize pool and a 2-year exemption on the Asian Tour. The International Series is part of the Asian Tour, which is a high-level series of tournaments fully backed by LIV Golf Investments. This year, purses are between $1 million and $1.5 million, and in 2023, they are likely to go up, all of which led to Ogletree's backstory and how he got where he is at the moment. Ogletree, who won the 2019 U.S. Amateur and was a golfer at Georgia Tech who was on a winning Walker Cup team, had a lot of his plans messed up by the pandemic. He had planned to turn pro after the 2020 Masters, but it was moved to the fall. Ogletree waited to play in the Masters, where he finished tied for 34th. He got a couple of sponsorship exemptions to PGA Tour events and hoped to get his card that way or at the Korn Ferry Tour Finals in 2021. But he had to have surgery and have a 6-month break because his labrum tore. He came back later last year and won a mini-tour event. He also made it to the 3rd stage of the Korn Ferry Tour Q School, but he didn't get full status there. He came in 100th, so he was a member of the Korn Ferry Tour, but he didn't have anywhere to play in 2022. His number meant that he couldn't play on the KFT. After missing the cut at the Sony Open in Hawaii, where he was invited by a sponsor, Ogletree tried several Monday qualifiers, but didn't win. He was a pro, but he didn't have a job. "I tried with all my heart to find a place for him to play," said Ogletree's agent, Mac Barnhart, who has worked with many players over the years, including Davis Love III. And that's when the LIV golf opportunity presented itself and where the story gets interesting. The week before the first LIV golf event, Ogletree was asked to play in the International Series London event. The Korn Ferry Tour let him play even though there was a conflict with another event, but Ogletree wasn't allowed to play in the LIV golf tournament that came after, even though he wasn't in the BMW Charity Pro AM that week. He said, "I didn't have anywhere to play. I wasn't there, and I couldn't get there either. I got in trouble and I found out I was suspended." At the LIV event, "I couldn't believe how everything went wrong. I was on the list with Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson. Everyone thought I was permanently banned." The PGA Tour threatened to suspend players who took part in LIV golf events, but they didn't say what would happen until after the competition. From that point on, it was clear that if you played in LIV golf tournaments, you would have to deal with the results. Members of the PGA Tour have been banned, and people who aren't members can't play with sponsor exemptions or enter Q School. But Ogletree and other people in his situation who don't have much or any status do present an interesting dilemma. He has no status, so the way they put his name out there was a little scary. Barnhart said he paid $5,500 to the tour to get into Q School so that they could control his rights. He had a bad week, which is not unusual, but he didn't have anywhere to play. "It doesn't make sense." I asked them, "From what should he be suspended?" Barnhart said he has no issue with the PGA Tour enforcing its membership rules, but believes there is a huge gray area when it comes to players like Ogletree. "I basically said, I hope you're right," Barnhart said. "I hope you didn't make it impossible for this kid to make a living. I just think they haven't done enough. I can't find a lawyer who says that Ogletree has done anything wrong. This is unlike anything I've ever seen." I'm a big fan of the tour, too. Even if Ogletree had qualified on Monday, he was not allowed to play in Korn Ferry events starts, no qualifying on Mondays for PGA Tour events. Even the Korn Ferry Tour qualifying school wouldn't let him in, but LIV Golf did show him how to get there. Even though it didn't give any more LIV starts, it got people into the International Series events for free. It's the only place he's played in the last 5 months. In Singapore, he tied for 57th, in Korea, he tied for 15th, and in Morocco, he didn't make the cut. On Sunday, he won. Another perk was that LIV Golf paid for his costs. "I have no regrets," Ogletree said. "The thing that came up was LIV. I was able to pay for what I was doing for the rest of the year because I was able to make some money." Ogletree was talking about the $120,000 he won for coming in last place at the first LIV Golf tournament. After he paid his bills, the extra money was a big deal. He made the most of the opportunity this past week, shooting scores of 66, 64, 65, 62 at Madanati Golf Club to finish at 23 under par. Weisberger, who has won 8 times on the DP World Tour, shot a 63 in the last round. I think that going into Sunday in the last group," Weisberger said afterward, "throwing everything at him wasn't enough. I played a good round and can be proud of myself." Ogletree, who now has choices, can do the same. He is thinking about going to the next International Series event in Indonesia next month. In 2023, he'll be able to choose between the Asian Tour and the International Series. And if he doesn't play in any more LIV events, he'd be free to try his luck on the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour. The ban on him ends on January 1st, 2023. "I have worked very hard," he said. "Last year's hip surgery was a mistake. This year, I'm really focused on keeping my body healthy and working hard to get back to playing great golf. Since a year and a half ago, this has been getting worse." Finally, Andy Ogletree gets first world-ranked win on Asian Tour. Andy Ogletree won the Asian Tour's International Series Egypt by 4 shots over Bernd Wiesberger on Sunday, when he shot an 8 under par 62 in the last round in Cairo. Ogletree's final score was tied for the lowest of the tournament. The 2019 U.S. Amateur Champion and former Georgia Tech All-American finished the 72-hole event at Madanati Golf Club with a score of 23 under. He only dropped 3 shots all week. On Sunday, Wiesberger never got closer than 2 shots, and Sewon Kim and Jukun Wang tied for third at 16 under, 7 shots behind Wiesberger. The win is important not only because it was Ogletree's first world-ranked title, but also because he is currently serving a suspension from the PGA Tour for taking part in the first LIV Golf event in London last June. Ogletree says that the suspension ends in December, but he won't be able to play on a PGA Tour-sanctioned tour at that point anyway. After getting to the final stage of Q School last November, he had conditional status on the Korn Ferry Tour last year, but he didn't get into a single event this year. Ogletree says that when he signed up for the LIV event, there were no other tournaments or qualifiers planned for that week, not even on the G Pro Tour, which he played on often. After losing his spot with LIV Golf quickly, Ogletree turned his attention to the International Series, which was started with money from LIV. Before this week, Ogletree had played in 4 tournaments. He had missed the cut in 2 of them, and his best finish was tied for 15th. Well, that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Till next time, cheers.